Welcome back to part 2 of building my dream walk-in butler's pantry. I'm Christine, a mom to 4 and amateur DIYer. Little by little, I am transforming the rooms in my home, and you can walk with me as I show you step by step what I am learning along the way. If you've ever desired to build something yourself, but you're intimidated or not sure where to start, well, I've been there too, and you've come to the right place. In my last video, I finished building my DIY cabinets and painted everything with my paint sprayer. In this video, we are on to installing trim, countertops, and shelves. This is when things finally start coming together and looking more professional. So, here we go. So the way that I'm actually screwing the cabinets together is I'm using a drill bit that is as wide as the top of the screw, and so I'm drilling a hole to countersink the screw so that the screw goes into the wood deeper, because that way I can fill it with some wood filler or putty and paint over it and you won't even notice. That's how I am attaching the cabinets together so they're one unit, and then I'm going to use 2.5-inch screws and attach the cabinets into the studs of the walls so everything is super solid. Perfect. So when putting the cabinets in, I did put shims on this side. I actually just used paint sticks. I put them just on the base and set this back cabinet on it, and it got this cabinet just perfectly level. Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get. I feel like, ow, what in the world? Screw is hot, it burned me. Now, do I need to put one back here? Probably, just to be safe. I probably use way more screws than you actually need on this entire project, just because I don't know what I'm doing and I want to be extra cautious. People often ask me how I find time to do all the things that I do, and I just find little pockets of time. So this was after school. The kids were doing fine, they were entertaining themselves, but as you can hear, they're still around, needing me, needing snacks, needing intervention. It's just totally normal for me to have my kids running around, doing their own thing while I'm working on a project. You did not know that?
Yeah, I didn't eat our apple for snack. I didn't know there was any.
Oh, darn it. You should have eaten an apple.
I didn't know.
All right, so I know it's right here. There's the stud. Bam.
Is he ready to jump
Try
on
this.
the table?
I think we did it. What?
Where are your car keys?
Dad, can I come?
They're in my purse. All right, so these cabinets are officially installed, and I'm so excited because everything fits perfect. On this side, I did add some trim before I installed it because it was going in this gap, so I needed to make sure I could reach it. So I added trim, and then I screwed these together, and then I screwed them to the wall. And now there's a little gap here, which will be good for the 1x2 that I'm gonna put here. And 1x2s are going to trim out all the edges, and then I'll go in and hand paint and fill in all the little spots. 31. Love it. After finishing the trim, it was time to cut down the butcher block countertop, which I was really nervous about, but I took the recommendation of the guy at the store and got a brand new blade and went nice and slow, and it was a perfect cut. I would recommend wearing a face mask and eye protection because it gets extremely dusty, and also ear protection because it's very loud. Now for cutting across the width of the butcher block, I used an AccuCut guide. It's by Craig Tools, and it just essentially sticks to the wood all on its own, and you run the saw across the edge. Now the first time I used it, I thought I was doing it wrong because it was cutting off a little tiny bit of that blue edge, but apparently that's actually what it's supposed to do, that it's a sacrificial edge. So all is well, and just make sure everything's supported. And as you can see, it's a perfect cut. I'm super happy with it. I then sanded it down with 220 grit sandpaper, and I would recommend doing a very good job here, and at this point sealing your butcher block on all sides, so that can take a few days. But I did not know that, and so I went ahead with the next step, and this is how I chose to attach my butcher block. I added pocket holes. Now there are other ways to do this. I hear that a biscuit joiner is one of the best ways, but I didn't want to buy another tool. So this was my method, and it was extremely difficult attaching the two countertops together to make that L shape because of the awkward angles. I had to reach under the countertop into the shelves. After trying a bunch of different things, I ended up having to go back to the store, and I got an impact driver, and that has turned out to be my new favorite tool. It's essentially like a drill but smaller, and it drives screws in so much better. This is where we're at so far. Before fully attaching the butcher block, I went on to sealing it. This is important because if you don't, the wood will absorb the moisture in the air and it can begin to warp and crack. I used just the most readily available sealer and finisher, which was by Watco, I believe, and tried to do all of the edges by picking up the wood and getting the back, the sides, and we went out of town in between this process, so the wood had plenty of time to dry and cure. So now I'm marking the studs on the wall because I'm going to need to reference this as I hang up the shiplap paneling and also the shelves. This electric stud finder I found works really well at really visualizing where the stud is. I then used construction adhesive and put that on the back and then stuck it to the wall and used my nail gun to nail it in place. It's good to get some of those nails into the studs, but you don't have to get all of them into the studs. You can just nail them in at different angles to really secure it in place. To cut out the outlet, I used a drill first to create holes so then I could fit the jigsaw into the holes and cut out the rectangle. Well, it's a perfect fit. This part I was so excited for. It was finally time to bring in the countertop cabinet. So now I was able to visualize and see the pantry coming together, and it was looking so good. Okay, well, looks messy. Things are not perfect, but that's what all the finishing is going to be for. So I'll fill all the cracks and nail holes, and I need to retouch all the paint, and it's going to feel really good to cover up all the nail holes and crooked edges and things like that. All right, so the outlet is popping out right here. So the wood is 3/4 of an inch, so I just need to scoot this thing to about here, and then I'll be able to drill out the opening for the outlet for the microwave. Hopefully that works. I don't love the gap over here, but I might just have to add some trim and fix this because, as It's the only way I see this really working. That's actually a really great idea. I think it'll look good. So that's what I'm gonna do. The outlet is 4.5 inches high. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna make the hole though. Thinking I'll use a multi-tool, which is extremely loud. So I'm gonna get my earplugs. Got my AirPods, kind of nervous. I mean, I've only used this thing once before, but I knew I would need it eventually, so I did get it. Here we go. Oh yeah, that works. This is hideous, but it's working. And it's gonna be covered, so it's okay. Wow, I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna put some trim here to cover up this horrible gap. Do not like that gap. Definitely gonna seal up that corner there, make it look good. I've decided I'm gonna use this little piece of trim to cover up the gap on the wall here. I've decided I'm gonna use some adhesive and clamps to secure it. Hopefully this glue is as strong as it claims it is. I'm just not sure. Clamp number 2, clamp number 3, clamp number 4. I'm gonna try to hang the floating shelves. My husband isn't here to help me, but I also thought it would be smarter to actually cut 2 2x4s at the height that I want it to hang and then rest the shelf on it and then drill it into the wall. So that's what I'm gonna try to do right now. I am so excited right now to see this. This looks amazing. I'm beside myself. This is everything I hoped it would look like. I'm in shock. This is like, wow. That's all for this week. Come back next week to see me applying all the finishes and trim and paint and hopefully reveal the finished pantry. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you always know when I release my newest video.